Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We're down here this morning on the parking pad where the bus is going to go. And I've got a little bit of work to do today, but let me catch you up and show you where things stand right now. Okay, starting off, I poured two pads, one here for the electrical and one over here for the septic. I also installed my pedestal here. This is a standard RV pedestal. It's got the 50, 30, and 20 amp outlets there in it. Certainly overkill for what we're doing here, but it all worked great. So the power line's 3 foot down, comes down here into one of my enclosures there. And then, of course, you saw last video here, the septic, it goes underneath the gravel here, and that's all set up as well. I got some spare 6x6s back here. We're going to go ahead and use those for some stairs for the bus, and I've got some other ideas of what I'm going to use those for. And one of which is what I'm going to be working on today. So I've got to put water access down here. And that's what I'm going to be doing today here, right next to the electrical box. So I've got about a, 15 foot run or so where I'm going to access the water, dig a trench down, direct bury my PEX, and run it into a hydrant. So I've got to dig a hole for the hydrant. Now I'm going to support the hydrant with a 6x6. Hence one of the things I'm going to use those extra 6x6s for. And then we should be good to go. So we'll see how the day goes. This should be a relatively quick project, but we'll get into it. Let's go. All right, gang, that went along there really well. It's not even lunchtime yet here, and this part of the project's really done. So you probably saw me there towards the end, filling this hole primarily with gravel. That's got to happen. It's just because that's how these hydrants work. When you close the valve at the back, the water drains out the bottom through a weep hole, and it has to have gravel around it so it can drain. That's just one of those things that helps prevent it from freezing. So got my ditch filled in here, back to my access point there. No, certainly no issues with putting this in here. I think it's going to work out just fine. I think really the only thing I wanted to try and adhere to was 10 feet away from my septic. My RV septic hole there. So that's going to wrap it up for this here. I've got to call the inspector. You probably saw the ground wire is still exposed. All of that will be sunken in the ground once the inspector comes and checks everything out. So water's done, electrical, sewer, power's run to it. Everything is hooked up just fine. So I'll probably actually call this afternoon to see if he can't come out this week and check it out. And then we're going to go ahead and move the bus down here so I can start to get to work on it. One of the other things I have to do, again, if you saw on the Facebook page, you might see behind me, we've got string lights up here along the driveway. Really looks nice at night, and it adds a little bit of light down here because it is pitch black down here at night. So, but those lights were only put up about 10 feet above the driveway. So the first couple strings here that it kind of attached to some trees, I've got to raise it up a little bit just so I can. I've been thinking about how I'm going to get the bus up into this area. If you ever towed a trailer or anything like this, and especially if you're familiar with RVing and things, this really the way it sits is not set up for a standard like tow behind, like a tag along or a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, because the connections would be on your what's called the street side, the door side of those the travel trailers and the fifth wheels and stuff like that. But in a Class A, you can pull straight in, and these will end up on your what's called the curbside. So my idea is going to be to come up the driveway and pull down the asphalt portion of it a little bit, and then back up the hill there, and then drive straight down. So maneuverability is certainly going to be an issue, so we're going to work on it, and it's going to happen. So it'll just be one of those trial and error type things. All right, gang, well, that's going to wrap up this video. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully this one was kind of short and sweet, and we're moving on to the next project. We'll see you then.